The four Office of the Vice President officials cited for contempt by the House of Representatives Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability finally show up at the hearing on Monday, November 25, after shunning past invitations. During Monday's hearing, the committee's secretariat confirms that the OVP officials, Assistant Secretary Limuel Ortonio, Special Disbursing Officer Gina Acosta, former Department of Education Assistant Secretary Sunshine Fajarda, and former DepEd official Edward Fajarda are present in the hearing room. Earlier, Committee Chairperson Joel Chua said that the resource person sent feelers that they would show up at the hearing. On November 11, the four OVP officials were cited for contempt upon the motion of Antipolo 2nd District Representative Romeo Acop for their continued defiance of invitations and summons issued against them. The four officials' presence is believed to be key for the committee's investigation regarding the alleged misuse of public funds by offices under Vice President Sara Duterte, including the OVP and previously the DepEd. Lawmakers think all four would be able to shed light on the issues involving acknowledgement receipts for confidential fund expenditures made by the OVP and DepEd, as there were instances wherein the confidential fund was received by the same person but were signed differently. On November 20, Lanao del Sur 1st District Representative Zia Alonto Adjong showed two acknowledgement receipts from the OVP and from DepEd. According to Adjong, the two receipts, which were both received by a certain Kokoy Villamin, appeared to show different handwriting and signature styles. The OVP was also called out for problems regarding its acknowledgement receipts during the November 5 hearing, when Ako pointed out that several of the receipts were signed by a certain Mary Grace Piatos. He noted the person bears a first name similar to a coffee shop, while the last name is a famous potato chip brand. Vice President Sara Duterte says her murder threat against President Bongbong Marcos was supposedly taken out of logical context. Duterte, in an open letter on Monday, November 25, questions the pronouncement of the National Security Council on Sunday, November 24, that it considers all threats thrown at Marcos serious in a matter of national security. Duterte says she wants to see the notice of meeting, list of attendees, and the notarized minutes of the meeting, where the council resolved to consider her remarks as a national security concern. The vice president also asks that her request to present to the council the supposed threats to her and her office be included in the agenda for the National Security Council's next meeting. Duterte also challenges the Council's definition of national security, arguing that it pertains to the protection of the country's sovereignty, which confines the function of the agency to the formulation of policies for such. She also questions why she wasn't invited to the council meeting when she herself is supposed to be a member, citing Executive Order 115 dated December 24, 1986. According to the Vice President, she has not received a single notice of meeting since June 30, 2022. She then requests the agency to submit to her the notarized minutes of all meetings conducted by the Council from June 30, 2022. In a press conference early Saturday morning, November 23, Duterte claimed she had already instructed someone to kill Marcos, First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and cousin House Speaker Martin Romualdez if she herself is ever killed. Malacanang then tagged Duterte's remark as an active threat against the president. But just hours after the vice president's revelation about supposedly hiring an assassin, Duterte clarified that the threat was merely a warning, reflecting what she called revenge from the grave should she end up dead amid a supposed threat to her life. President Bongbong Marcos is assigning Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, Justice Secretary Boying Remulla, and Agrarian Reform Secretary Conrado Estrella III as caretakers of the country during his trip to the United Arab Emirates, according to Malacanang. In a message to reporters on Monday, November 25, Press Secretary Cesar Chavez says Bersamin, Remulla, and Estrella were named as the caretaker committee. Marcos is set to meet with UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan on November 26 in Abu Dhabi. In the past, Marcos typically designated Vice President Sara Duterte as caretaker during his overseas trips. However, their relationship has soured since Duterte's resignation as Education Secretary in June. Tensions between the two leaders escalated over the weekend after Duterte claimed she had hired someone to kill Marcos, First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and cousin Speaker Martin Romualdez if she were ever assassinated. Malacanang then described the vice president's statement as an active threat. The Presidential Security Command says it tightened security around President Bongbong Marcos after Vice President Sara Duterte's remarks about instructing someone to kill the president if she is ever killed. Presidential Security Command Civil Military Operations Officer Major Nestor Endozo says they doubled its personnel guarding the president. According to Endozo, while he can't disclose the exact number of added personnel, it will be seen during the president's upcoming engagements. On November 23, Vice President Duterte claimed that she hired someone to kill Marcos, First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and cousin Speaker Martin Romualdez in the event that she herself is killed. Malacanang tagged Duterte's statement as an active threat. National Security Advisor Eduardo Año also said the government considers all threats to the president as serious, as he vowed to closely work with law enforcement and intelligence communities to investigate the threat and possible perpetrators. Following Año's statement, Duterte claimed her remark was supposedly taken out of context.